Okay. So if anyone has anything they'd like discussed, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, let's just take a moment and sink into the room. So just let your vision kind of soften and take in the entire room at once. Just slow yourself down to the speed of what's happening in this moment, in this time, in this space. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. And so you're free to just show up exactly where you are. From the still platform of this present moment, you're able to see your next step. In most cases, it's the scrambling for a next step that keeps it out of reach. But when you can let it all stop, the fabricated stories fall to the ground around you, and you're left with what's real. You're left with what is self-existent. And your next step is always a step deeper into that. Anything else is either a lateral move or regression. So just let it all fall to the ground. And feel your way forward. In the presence of something real. Nothing to understand about that. Just an experience to have. The experience itself turns every illusion into a teaching. Because all teachings are just geared to show you that the illusion is an illusion. Different levels of realizing what isn't real. That's the whole road. And if you can just stand at the center of it and let what's real shine, without covering it up. The deepest teachings become available to you, not through me, but through the contrast. The contrast of the part of you that's addicted to something that isn't real and the reality that's facing you in every moment. So again, let yourself come to a stop. Slow down to the speed of this moment and let everything about your day, your life, your name, your family, your job, your roles, even your spirituality, fall to the ground around you. And let's just be with what's left. those stories you have, where you're worried that if you let go of it, it's like being complicit with bad behavior, failing to punish bad behavior. Go ahead and let them win. Just drop the rope. That battle doesn't have to take place inside your head and heart. And if it's yours to fight, it will show up on the screen of life, and you'll make the right decisions from a dispassionate place. But half of what you think you need to fight is not even yours. It's not on your plate to do anything right now. It may be someday, but it's not right now. But you're fighting now. It's just going to make you less prepared when you have to actually act, because you will have already spent your energy. It also manifests the very thing you're placing your attention on in your life. It magnifies the problem for your life. Those problems have always existed. They will always exist. But they don't have to be the loudest thing in your world. Let go into this moment. The winner of any battle is always the person who can show up and engage without the frenzy of war. That's a person who can see and understand their opponent. That's a person who is reaching for a future that is supported by the balancing factors of life. You don't get there by running on a hamster wheel in your head. That's what your opponent's doing. Let it go. couple of you are feeling a lot of intensity tonight. I want you to drop an anchor down into the earth. Straight down from your perineum into the earth. Big chains of steel, just dropping deep into the earth as if it were made of water, into a nice, dark, cool spot. And now just let that intensity follow that chain down into the earth. Let the earth balance it out. It's just clouding your space. You don't need it. Better. Now attention at the forehead and crown, and just be present in this moment. This moment is a living, breathing, conscious entity. If you can be open to it, it can communicate with you. But you have to really let go. And you feel how much cleaner the space is after that. Why does that work? It works because none of it was real outside of the story to begin with. There was a story that there was something you had to deal with, or some feeling that you couldn't get rid of. And so you were handed a story that allowed you something to do with that energy. It was as real as anything else. Not real at all. All the things that stand in the way of you and reality, all the things standing in the way between you and feeling complete and awake and still, all those things are not real. It's just a storyline that you haven't written an exit for. You don't have an exit strategy. The exit strategy I gave you wasn't even creative. It's a cliche, if anything. But it changes the whole room. See that? It's important that you can see it. Because if you can see it here, you should be able to see it in your own life. When you're triggered, when you're trapped, when you can't get free, when you can't get open. You can remember a moment like this and know that it's just an illusion of the story. Create a better story, or let it go entirely. But if you can't let it go, balance it out in the story, and then let it go, like you did tonight. Can you see the simple power in that? It's so simple it goes over most people's heads. The whole world and very few people really get it or have any experience with it. They'll get some self-help meditation CD that'll do just that. But they'll just think it's some technique. And they'll miss the underlying principle. that would give it flexibility, that would keep it from just being one more story to be trapped in. Oh, I have to do the anchor technique. I haven't done it in 5 days. It's not a technique, it's a story. A quick fix. They all are. That's how much freedom you have. And that's how close reality is to you. It's hidden from you by just this thin veil of stories, this puff of smoke and mirrors. That only trap your attention because they're imbalanced, and so they're bright and angular. Balance it out, and you'll see reality at the center of it. Attention at the forehead and crown. Ask nothing of this moment. Just be present for what is. This moment is a conscious intelligence. And if you reach into it, it will reach back. It will cue you to things you need to see, cue you to things you need to release, cue you to things you need to understand. You just have to reach out to it by showing up. You have so much support. You can feel it, can you not? It's not just quiet, it's moving. It's massaging. Enlivening. Arranging. And you're actually a part of it. Your stories are like clotted blood, congesting the area. And as you open up and let go, it comes in and clears things away. So that you can understand what you're a part of. At a deep level, you already know. But you have to experience it deeply and repeatedly. To really let yourself remember. To let it really permeate the world your story created. Are there any questions about any of that? We've never quite talked about it in that way before. what you're reaching into isn't nothing. It's no thing, but it isn't nothing. You're reaching into an availability for a realization of what you are. Beyond this little segmented consciousness that you signed up for when you came down here. This temporarily separated consciousness.
I have a question, Liam.
Go for it.
How can I let go when I have a million racing thoughts and my anxiety kicks in and I blow the story out of proportion and I suddenly don't have control over it? How can I neutralize the story?
Okay. So just for the recording, someone is asking, how can I let go when I have 1,000 racing thoughts and I can't let go of the story? How do I let go of the story? The fastest way is to stop fighting all of it. To literally let it be exactly what it is and show up for the story without any resistance. Because it is your resistance to the story that is perpetuating the story. You know, so if it's a story of anxiety, okay, here I am, I'm feeling anxious, my stomach is feeling bad, my heart is racing. Let's just really be with this feeling, really go into this feeling. I have a belief. Maybe it's a belief that someone is going to feel a certain way about me, and that's causing me anxiety. So you step into that. Okay, what if they feel that way about me? Let's just live out that reality. Let's just step into that and be open in that. Let that be exactly what it is, and drop all your resistance. That is the fastest way. Go ahead and just experience the demon so that you can see that it isn't actually a problem. The truth is, Rosalma, the things that you are afraid of are not actually problems. You can be present for all of them and handle them and take the necessary actions in the moment, and you can be scared or not. You can be anxious or not. But the fact is, you've gotten to this age and you're still alive. You're still kicking. It's actually okay if all these things happen. You get through them, and they may have an impact on your life, or they may not, but it's okay for them to have an impact on your life. Every single person in this room at some point is going to drop dead. So the worst thing is already gonna happen. It all just sort of needs to be okay. If you're left with a pile of ashes, you will figure out how to work with the ashes. So that's the fastest way. But there are other ways. You know, there's reality testing. So within the story, you can look at the things that you're afraid of and you can ask yourself what evidence you have that those things are true. Is there any evidence that they're not true? You can start rationalizing your way through it to give yourself a little bit of just some clarity and some sanity within it. Because most of the assumptions we have aren't really based in what's actually occurring. You know, we think that people feel a certain way, but they don't. You know, they are looking at something completely different, and we're just taking all of our stuff and projecting it onto them. So you can work at it from that level too, and recognize that it's entirely possible that the problems you think are just around the corner aren't even waiting on the other side of the corner. But the fastest way, and the way that is taught usually in spiritual life, is to go ahead and let the worst case scenario be okay. To stop fighting it, to just drop the rope entirely, and just accept. Because at the end of the day, what you're really fighting against is death. At the end of the day, what you're really resisting is the loss of who you think you are. At the deepest level, all those issues are that. And a spiritual warrior eventually has to come to terms with their own annihilation and actually recognize that it's not a problem at all. And you recognize that by letting go and being with what's left after you let go. Stepping into that nothing that you're so afraid of, what you're going to see is that what's left is actually what you always were before you started covering it all up with these life stories. And these life stories, there's nothing special about them. Everybody has them. My dog has them. Whether you fix them or you don't, they're going to rot in your brain within the next 50 to 80 years, depending on your age. It's all okay. It's all okay.
Thank you. I didn't. A lot of times I've gone through the process of letting it happen, but I haven't seen the other side of the coin of maybe trying to rationalize, is this really happening, or is it my mind just taking control of me and making things worse that aren't even existing because I'm making all these assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just as a reminder, try to rationalize, is this really happening or am I making this up?
Yep.
And then letting go if it's my mind making these things up, because the reality is that that's not happening. So that's a good way of seeing it. I haven't thought of that in a long time. So thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, you bet. You know, if you decide you want to go deep down that road, the people who do that the best are cognitive behavioral therapists. And so, you know, it's never hard to find a cognitive behavioral therapist. It's one of the most popular techniques in the realm of counseling. So know that that's, or buy a book on it, you know, even if you don't feel like going and getting counseling, but you can go deeper that way. Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I'll ask my therapist. No, I go to therapy regularly for the last 10 years, and I also read a lot of behavioral books.
Cool.
To get a better understanding of why certain things are happening. But I'll ask her if she's cognitive behavioral. I haven't had any issues with her in the past, like when I brought up things.
Yeah.
So I'll bring it up to her. Thank you so much for that information.
No problem. Anybody else? All right, guys. So this week, I'd like you to just show up for what is, okay? Show up and let everything else just fall to the ground. And just remind yourself that you have to let go of what isn't real if you want to see what is. Okay? Carry that with you this week and show up for your moments. And I will see you on Thursday of
Thank
next
you
week.
so much.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
bet. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good night.
Liam.
Thank you, Liam.
Thanks, Liam.